And then my high school coach was like, you should try and see if you can get onto a college team. And I had taken like rifle seriously. Like when I was at practice, I was working hard, but I didn't think that, I could really go anywhere with it outside of high school until he brought that up to me. And I was like,
Today on the sideline, the University of Memphis two-time national rifle champion Gabriela Zych is up next. Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. On the sideline today, where we highlight the stories of athletes and changemakers who are making an impact beyond the game. If you love hearing stories of resilience, leadership, and purpose, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and follow us wherever you listen. And if you're watching on YouTube, give this episode a like and drop a comment to cheer on today's guest. Today's story is one that every Tiger fan and honestly every young athlete needs to hear. University of Memphis rifle standout Gabriela Zych made program history when she became the first national champion in Memphis rifle history, winning 2 national championships titles at the 2025 USA Shooting National Rifle and Pistol Championship in Talladega, Alabama, earning gold in both the women's 50-meter rifle, 3 positions open final, and the junior final. Her 2 national titles are a significant achievement for both her and the University of Memphis rifle program. Her performance sets a new benchmark and represents a major milestone as the program continues to build its reputation nationally. But it's her journey that's truly the powerful story here. Gabby moved nearly 4,000 miles from Anchorage, Alaska to Memphis, Tennessee, sight unseen, to take a chance on a dream that she wasn't even sure she belonged in. She's now a 2-time national champion, a 5-time All-American, the first Tiger to ever receive the NCAA Elite 90 award, and she's holding a perfect 4.0 GPA in business management. She's focused, humble, and one of those rare athletes who understands that greatness starts within. I am so excited to welcome to the show Gabriela Zych.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank
Y-
you.
You are quite welcome. I love to get started by telling people how we actually met. And we actually met a couple of weeks ago at the 901 Women's event. For those that are not familiar with the University of Memphis, we have a 901 a board and kind of a, how would we call it, initiative on campus throughout the university to really highlight the 901s, the sports, women's sports. And so we had a great little get together at Southwind Golf Course to welcome all of the head coaches, the coaching staff, and all of the 901 female athletes. That's where we met. I came up to you. You're one of the guest speakers. I came up to you. We chit-chatted for a few minutes, and I was just really enthralled with how your story unfolded. And I just think it's an inspiration for everybody. So excited to have you on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. It's been a while from that event, and the athletic director invited me there to speak, which was like exciting and nerve-wracking, but I'm glad that I went. I think it was really fun.
It is. And I hope we have more of those events because for a lot of us here in Memphis, a lot of people went to the University of Memphis. I spent 10 years getting 2 degrees there, very familiar with the university and do a lot of work with them. And I think it's important that I didn't even know we had. I knew we had rifle, but nobody ever talks about it. And so I thought that it was a really great idea to have you on here to talk about the sport and just how it's coming into the limelight now with everything that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of people I talk to on campus, or even like my classmates, when I tell them I'm on the rifle team, they don't know what it is, or they wonder if I'm like in color guard or if I'm doing something different. But yeah, and Memphis has a really great program too. As far as rifle schools go, we're ranked 6th in the nation. I don't know, it's great. And Memphis is a great rifle school. The people here sometimes don't seem to know that it is.
No, and that's one of the things I want to shine a light more on sports and people that are just under the radar. And especially here in Memphis, I've been very vocal about wanting to shine a light more on women in sports and just highlight that. In the intro, I was talking about you moved 4,000 plus miles, give or take a few, from Alaska to Memphis, sight unseen. What made you say yes to that opportunity?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was my coach Morgan. She sold me on the program. Obviously, we had a couple phone calls and like a FaceTime call where she showed me around the range a little, and I had a Zoom meeting with the team. But even from then, I think it's hard to gauge what things will be like just from a phone call. And it's a big decision choosing what I want to do with the next 4 years of my life. Do I go to college? Do I not? Where do I go if I do go? But Morgan really sold me on her program and her coaching style. And I knew that if I wanted to grow, especially as an athlete, and if I wanted to really commit to being a rifle athlete, like I just had to be uncomfortable and I had to take a risk and take that chance in order to let myself grow. And I knew Memphis was a great program. And obviously it's tough being so far away from home, but I'm glad that I took that risk.
Okay, so for those that may not know, how did Coach Morgan, and what's her first name?
Morgan is her first name. So
Oh, Morgan.
sorry, Coach Morgan Wilson.
Okay. How did she find you, or did you find Memphis? How did that all happen?
When Morgan was recruiting me, she was actually the interim head coach. And I had been sending emails to Memphis, but I didn't realize that there was a coaching change. So I was actually emailing the old head coach, the one before Morgan. So she never
Okay.
got like some of my original like recruiting emails. But actually, I think how we finally got in touch is through another coach. I had talked to another program and they had said that they didn't have room for me. And that coach actually put me in touch with Morgan and told Morgan, hey, this girl isn't maybe the right fit for our team, but she could be the right fit for your team, which was really, I'm grateful that happened. And that's how Morgan got in touch with me, which was late into my senior year. I would say it was about in January. And so from my first phone call with Morgan to when I signed was about a week. So
Wow.
yeah, Morgan was like, gave me an opportunity, and I was like, okay, I have to take this. I have to go.
Oh, that just gave me chills. So when you were going through that process, when did you start looking at colleges when you were in high school?
I would say my junior year, I started
Okay.
thinking about what I wanted to do out of high school at all. And we had UAA, which is University of Alaska Anchorage, the college in my town. They don't have a rifle team, but I was thinking like, oh, maybe I can go there. And I was thinking of getting my air traffic control certification. My aunt is an air traffic controller. Or I was thinking, and then my high school coach was like, you should try and see if you can get onto a college team. And I had taken like rifle seriously. Like when I was at practice, I was working hard, but I didn't think that, I could really go anywhere with it outside of high school until he
Mhm.
brought that up to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And I started looking into some schools and I just made a list of every single rifle school. And then I started crossing some ones off. I was like, oh, I don't really want to be in this place, or I don't really want to be in this place. So I crossed them off and I got like my list of my top 10. I was like, this is like my top 10 schools.
Right.
And I started emailing coaches that way. And it was a tougher recruiting process for me. It was right after COVID. So I graduated high school in 2022. So with the eligibility, a lot of people's seniors on their teams were staying. So there weren't that many open spots for me. So that's why things happened in January pretty late. But I don't know, I was really excited and I was happy that things finally ended up the way that they did.
I know people are probably wondering how you got into rifle, and we're going to get into that in just a second. Something you said earlier was you wanted to make yourself, I believe you said, to get uncomfortable. I coach a lot of people about that in career strategy and stuff. And yes, if you want to excel, you have to be uncomfortable somehow. You can't stay stagnant. You know, how many? So I think when you were at the 901 women's event, you said there weren't that many colleges that have rifle teams. Is that correct?
No, I think there's about 30, about 30
Wow. Wow. Let's briefly talk about you decide you're going to come to Memphis. When did you get on the plane to come here?
in August. So August of 2022,
Okay.
my dad, which I think it was whatever the freshman move-in week was. I didn't have
Yes.
a tour or anything. So it was me and my dad, and I had my rifle case and my gear bag with all my gear in it. And then I had two other suitcases with all my clothes. And the plan was just that and I was moving into the dorms, and the plan was just we'll buy everything there because being from Alaska, I can't really pack a bunch of stuff into my car or into a car and just drive it down there. That would take probably a week. So me and my dad flew down and he helped me move into my dorm. He was there for 2 or 3 days. And then all of a sudden, I was in Memphis and I was just somewhere completely different.
Now, prior to that, had you traveled outside of Alaska at all?
Yes. So I've traveled for rifle competitions.
Okay.
So I've been down to the lower 48 a little bit. And then my
For
family,
those out there, that's the continental
oh
United
yes,
States. I
sorry.
know
Yeah,
that, but I'm sure others are like the lower 48. Yeah, it's the
yeah.
continental United
My
States.
bad. Yeah,
That's
I've been down to I guess the normal US or the
yes.
upper US a little bit and done a little bit just for a couple shooting competitions. And I took like a middle school DC trip, so I got to see
Oh,
DC
that's
too.
cool. That's
But I've
cool.
actually been, so my parents immigrated to the US from Poland.
Okay.
So I was born in the US, but they immigrated here. So I've been back to Poland a few times too
Right.
to see family.
When you landed in Memphis, what was that first like? What was it like when you get off the plane? And obviously, the airports all look the same in some aspects, but when you were driving to the university, what was that thought process going on in your head?
Yeah, I was trying to compare it to a place I already knew. So I was like thinking about Memphis and I walked out and I was like, oh, I thought the air felt tropical because it was really humid. I was like, oh, it feels a little tropical outside. It's like wet and humid and
August, yes.
yes. And in all, I guess my research or my Googling I did about the city of Memphis, I knew it was like a big music city. So that's what I was like, okay. And at the airport, they have the piano tiles and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, okay, everyone's really into music and the blues and jazz. And I thought everyone would be talking about Elvis Presley or something. I was like, I know Elvis is from here. My dad and I went to Graceland
Oh,
while he was
that's
leaving me. And
awesome.
yeah, I loved it. But I've also heard Memphians say that if you're from Memphis, you've never been to Graceland. So
That is true.
yeah, so I was here. I went to Graceland like my second day in the city, which I guess would not make me a true Memphian.
That's okay. I did not grow up here in Memphis,
Yeah.
and I actually did not go to Graceland until I had been here probably like 10 years. I came to Memphis to go to college.
Okay.
But when I was little, a little side note here, when I was little, my sister actually went to the last concert that Elvis performed in Memphis.
Wow.
And she's a few years older than me, but I remember like him still alive, and his daughter Lisa Marie and I are actually the same age. She's born at the 1st of February and born at the end. So I
Wow.
grew up really knowing who they were because I grew up 2 hours from Memphis. And my mom just really liked Priscilla Presley and the clothes she wore. My mom was a seamstress. I know that's a little more than people wanted to know right now, but I didn't get all like caught up in the moment. I appreciated his music, but never more so until I went and toured the house and just saw like the room with all the gold records. And that just puts it all in perspective a little bit. So I think that's great that you went there. I think more people in Memphis should actually tour Memphis and see
Yeah.
the history of it and just everything that, is a part of the city. What did your dad think?
Real talk. I want to help more people like you show up online with confidence, starting with your LinkedIn profile. If your profile still reads like a job history instead of a reflection of who you are now, we need to fix that. I offer a LinkedIn makeover service where I rewrite your headline, your about section, and your experience to tell your story in a way that gets noticed, that showcases your expertise. It's personal, it's real, and it's all about helping you stand out for the right reasons. Book your makeover at sandy-adams.com/LinkedIn, and let's get your profile working for you.
I don't know. We were both just like skeptical and feeling it out. Like we didn't really know what to think. And of course, like I know that whether I like it, or, of course I like it, but
Yeah,
whether I like it or not, like I'm more or less, I've committed to doing this.
sure.
So I'm going to be here. So I was really excited and I was like, okay, like I was trying to be really positive. I think it's going to be good. This is really good. I'm moving in my dorm room. This is exciting. I like my roommate. And everything's exciting and I can't wait to shoot. And I was trying to be really excited. And I think my dad was trying to do that too. We are just trying to be like, okay, like this is I knew it was a good decision, but trying to like amp myself up for it a
Sure.
little more rather than being
Yeah.
sad about leaving home.
So, did he ever mention to you, like when he left you and went back, like he had to have been like really, I don't know, torn between excited for you and also sad and concerned, I would
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, definitely. I think my dad went with me because my mom probably would have been a little more emotional. She was more like scared. She was like
Yeah,
scared for me to be away from so far
sure.
away. And she was more like concerned and she was the one texting, "Do you have everything? Did you go to this place? Did you go to this place?" And I was like, "Yes, it's okay. Everything is okay." And my dad's more of the just, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's
Right.
go for it kind of type. And I remember like we checked into a hotel like our first night and we didn't really know what to think. And then in the morning, like my first meal in Memphis was a Waffle House. There's like a Waffle House
I love
across
that.
the street, and we're like, okay, let's go here, let's try this. And we're like, okay, I guess this is like what Memphis is. Or in my head, it's like real America. Like I feel like whenever I'm
Mm,
here or something, I'm like in real America, but like at home is still the US. But a lot of the times, like, we don't get free shipping or all those other perks that everyone else here gets.
and people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Living in Alaska, they don't think about the perks we call them that we get
Yes.
here.
Like when I ordered an Amazon package and it showed up within 2 or 3 days, I was shocked. I was like floored because that had never
You're like,
happened.
yes, I hit the jackpot here.
Yes, exactly. Because normally you order it and then you forget about it because it's a week or two and then it shows up at your door in Alaska. But here it's like the next day or the next couple of days. And I was like, wow, this is awesome.
That first week on campus, like when you finally got to go to your first class and everything, did you go to the first football game? Because that's a Southern tradition, football games.
My first football game, I think it was on a recruiting visit. So I
Oh,
want to
okay.
say like we had a recruit in town and we took them on a football game. And I don't know too much about football, so I'm
It's okay.
really,
It's
yeah,
okay. It's okay.
I'm there to have fun and I don't know, just like cheer and sit and chat a little bit. I don't know all the rules, but I was surprised like the field was so close. I was like, wow, we're like so
Yeah.
close to the field. And it was cool, especially with the band there and like the band being so loud and like all the cheerleaders and everything. It all looks so professional. And I've been to like a high school game, but it's nothing like a
Yeah.
college game.
It really isn't. And the South is really that's such a huge tradition in
Yeah.
the South is the college football and stuff. Okay, so let's talk about your here. Let's go back though. I want to go back to how did you get into into and I don't even know how to say it. How did you get into shooting
Yeah,
rifle?
as a freshman in high school, I realized that I needed some PE credits to graduate. And I was like, okay, I don't want to be in a PE class. It just wasn't my scene. I don't know, I didn't like playing dodgeball and changing out in the locker room and like doing all this stuff. I was like, okay, let me join a sport. I can join a sport instead. And I was looking at the list of sports and I was like, I'm not maybe the most athletic person, so I
Right.
think I would have the most fun or maybe be the most successful in rifle or bowling. And rifle tryouts happened to be right before bowling tryouts. So I tried out for rifle and I never shot a gun before. My dad had owned a gun, but I never shot it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And it was actually a cut sport. So we had 20 spots on the team and there was like a couple people trying out. So I was able to make it past cuts. I guess I got lucky my first time. And then after that, I started really liking it and I started getting competitive and I eventually joined like a club team. So I was on my high school team and then
Right.
a club team too. And then I was able to travel to different matches like in the US and start like talking to college coaches that wound up with me being here.
So I think you've said before you never really saw yourself as an athlete before picking up a rifle. What changed once you stepped into that space where you're starting to be competitive? When did you start seeing yourself more as an athlete versus not?
Yeah, I think I started realizing like maybe like the first time I get lucky, but then I realize what other people are shooting and I'm like, wow, this is a lot this is a lot harder than it looks. And it actually takes a lot of discipline, like both physically to get your body in the same exact position every time and mentally, because you want to be thinking about the exact same things every time you're shooting. So I realized, wow, this takes a lot of discipline and it's a lot of hard work. And once I started realizing that and like training in that way, like I think I saw myself as more of an athlete because those are obviously
Sure.
athletic traits.
So for those that are probably not familiar with collegiate rifle, explain to us the basics of the sport and what the training is for you.
Absolutely. So in college rifle, we shoot two rifles. So small bore, which is a 22, an air rifle, which is like a souped up BB gun almost.
Right.
It's like you shoot pellets with compressed air, but it's way more advanced than BB gun would be.
Sure.
So we have those two guns, small bore, and both of them were shooting at targets. So it's not like clays or anything. It's indoor and we're shooting at a target. For small bore, it's 50 feet away, and for air gun, it's 10 meters away.
Are all the competitions inside?
Yes.
Okay.
So for college, they're all inside, mainly because that's a lot more accessible, especially
Sure.
since rifle is a winter sport. They're inside. In the Olympics, small bore, air rifle is always inside, but small bore is outside. And instead of 50 feet, it's at 50 meters. So it's at a lot greater of a distance
Okay.
and it's outdoors, which is more challenging. But we shoot indoors, and for each gun, you shoot a total of 60 shots. Each shot is worth a number 1 through 10 based on like how close you can shoot towards the middle, which means you could get 60 points for each gun, meaning a total score for one person, if you had a perfect match, would be a 1200.
Wow.
So that's what each person is aiming towards. And then as a team sport, how it works is our 5 best people shoot against the opposing team's 5 best people, and they count the top 4 scores. So like golf, where they drop a score, in rifle, 5 people will shoot, they drop a score, and then they combine that for a total team score. And it's just whoever gets the highest number, that's it. It's just a game of numbers.
For you, what does training look like for you? Because I mean, with a, probably more of the other sports, you're like with lifting weights, you're like running and all that kind of stuff. So for you, what is a typical training week like for you?
Yeah, so I practice every morning. We start at 8 a.m. and we're required to shoot for 3 hours. And that can mean like a variety of things. There's a lot of different drills that people do. We all start all of us on our team start our mornings with 5 minutes of mindfulness where we'll each sit down and take 5 minutes to get our heads in place and get ready for practice. But we'll shoot like timed drills to help us get quicker and like technical focus drills. We'll work on our positions. We'll do a lot of things. We'll shoot practice matches in that 3 hours. And then outside of that, we also lift as a team. So we work out together twice a week in the weight room. And then on my own, a couple times a week, I'll do cardio just because in our sport, you want your resting heart rate to be as low as possible. So
Sure.
cardio helps with that. And especially like standing still and being steady.
How does the weightlifting help?
The weightlifting helps mainly also one, it's good for us. Like it's good to
It
keep
is.
healthy.
It is.
And it's something that everyone should be doing, but also it helps you hold yourself up. It helps us with our
Oh,
posture. Like a lot of
yes.
times we do a lot of like posture correction because we're hunched over the gun all day. So like fixing that, but then also when you're standing up there, typically like more muscle mass will help you be, I think, a little stabler
Yeah.
and just like refining and fine tuning those small muscles that we use to balance ourselves with and do other things with.
No, I totally get that. So for nutrition, do you guys have a regimented nutrition plan or is that not even really an issue?
As a team, Morgan has a rule that we're not allowed to consume any caffeine. So I don't drink any caffeine, especially not before I shoot. I might have a soda with dinner or something, but definitely not in the mornings. I don't drink coffee or anything. And I think diet is more, it's an individual thing. So what I eat is different than what other people eat. Like on a match morning, I like to eat, a lot of the times I'll eat oatmeal because I don't really love the taste of oatmeal, but I know like how I'm gonna feel when I eat it. And I know like my stomach won't be upset and
I
I'll be
gotcha.
full and
Yes.
everything will be good.
Yes.
So I think the main thing with diet and rifle is don't try anything new, especially like right before a match to make your stomach get upset or really anything. But it's also like an individual thing as well.
Okay, so at the 901 Women event, I believe someone, because the rifle, so tell us where the rifle thing is on campus.
Yeah, so it's called the RF Women Rifle Range. It's attached actually to South Hall, which is a boys' dorm.
Yes.
If people know where that is attached to it. But it's really close to the rec. So the rec and the range share a parking lot.
Okay. At the 901 Women's event, someone was, because I think it's close to one of the, like the university school or something.
Yeah, it is close to campus.
Okay. So some lady, I can't remember her name, but she was talking about she watched you guys every morning, like you all get out of your cars in the parking lot, and then I think you all wait till everyone's there, and then you
Yeah,
walk across together at the
we
same
do.
time.
Do some of that is because one, people just get there around the same time because the doors, that's when we all get there. And also our coach says practice starts at 8 and you are not allowed to come into the building until 7:55. I think rifle athletes are typically like a bunch of like type A kind of people. So they want to be there early. They want to get to the range as soon as possible. So because that's a bunch of us, she said, okay, you can come in at 7:55 period. So a lot of times like we chat out there and then we'll like all walk over together once people show up.
So it just probably became a thing. Like you're
Yeah,
all
it
hanging
did.
out to
It
make.
did. Because
So,
we're all like, wait, we're all there early and we're
okay,
all
y'all are
like,
funny. Oh my
yeah, we're
gosh.
7:55, like exactly to roll around so we can walk in the doors. So people get out of their cars and start chatting and just talking.
Okay. So I think you recently, so you competed at nationals,
Yes.
which has Memphis been to nationals before?
So I competed individually at USA Shooting's national championship,
Okay.
which like the NCAA championship is like separate. It's different from that.
Oh,
But
interesting.
USA Shooting is like our national governing body. So like they run the Olympic selections,
Okay.
obviously, for like rifle shooting. The same that you have USA Swimming and USA Track and
Yes.
Field.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So we have
Gotcha.
USA Shooting
Got it.
and it was their national championship. And that is open to the public. So anyone that wants to go is allowed to sign up. You just have to register and pay the entry fee, and you're in. So a lot of college athletes go because they're like in that spot. It is over the summer. So
Right.
some people are training, some people aren't. But it's also like the appeal is that it's a rankings match. So like the scores you shoot in that match affect your ranking on the
Got
US national team, like where you are.
Gotcha. And is it also like a journey to the Olympics, more a direct path to the Olympics?
Sure, when it comes to the Olympics, that selection procedure is completely separate.
Okay.
So, like for Paris, what they did was they had three Olympic selection matches, and those were open to the public. Anyone could show up, and
Hmm.
people would shoot those three matches. And they had, I can't tell you the exact formula, they had some kind of a formula where they like add them together, and I think they might have dropped one or something. But then the people ranked highest or the shoot the best at those three matches get to go to the Olympics, whether they're on the national team or not, or anything. So anyone could try or go to the Olympics. Of course, like the rankings matches though, they decide who competes at other international events. So like
Sure.
world championships and like world cups. So in terms of making the US national team and competing internationally, it's important for that.
Right. Now, are those also indoors or are some of those outdoors?
Those are all outdoors. So like the World Cups and like World Championships are all small bore is typically always shot outdoors. Air rifle is always inside, and then small bore when it's like national or international is typically shot outside.
So did you shoot outside when you were at the Nationals?
I did.
So as a collegiate athlete, you're training for indoor matches.
Yes.
So then you had to switch up how you train, obviously, for an outdoor match.
Yes. And some of it, I obviously can't, there's a lot of factors that influence that. Obviously, you have the wind and the temperature. So
Right.
the match was in June in Alabama, it was hot and it was really warm
Yeah, it
out.
is hot.
But that's okay. That's part of it. And like I was training here in Memphis and I only have access to an indoor range and an indoor range at a shorter distance. So when you're shooting far away, it's a little more difficult to be accurate. So when I was training, I had to obviously think about all these things and be like, okay, like I'm doing my best now, but I know that it could be different when I get there and feel different and look different. And I'll have to deal with the wind, which I don't normally deal with. So I almost had to like train a little harder here and have leave some mental room to like be able to
Sure.
think about something else while I'm there because I don't know, it's easy I think when it's hot too, at least for me, like to get a little agitated and to get irritated or
Sure.
just emotional with the way things are going because it's hot and the wind feels like it's out of my control and there are a lot of things that are out of my control, but it just comes down to focusing on what I can control and what I can do.
Is that their train in the background?
Sorry, yep,
No,
trains
no, no.
going by.
So
Really
for anyone,
tired on the tracks.
so for anyone that went to the University of Memphis, we're all very familiar with that
Yeah.
train track. And in case you probably know this, but before they built the overpass over the train
Mhm.
track, yes, back in the day when I went to school, I literally had to park in that big parking lot and then race to get across the track before the train came.
Oh
There would
wow.
be a mass exodus from the parking lot across the train tracks to get to class. Yes, that's a little nostalgia back there. Okay, it's interesting. I guess I would think that maybe some of the local gun ranges, would you be able to practice at those gun ranges for the outdoor competitions?
I might be like, but I we also shoot. The good thing about Memphis is we have electronic targets.
Oh,
So we have our own like electronic target scoring system and it
right,
records things downrange and then shows up on a monitor. So you have a monitor right next to you where you shoot and it shows where your shot went and all of that. And it's a little easier to shoot on
sure,
electronic targets than paper targets because you can see it and you don't have to use a scope or anything and try and guess what you shot. And
right.
when I shoot nationals, those are on electronic targets. So I would prefer to train that way. Definitely in high school, when I was shooting small bore, I would go to a local range and just shoot paper targets and do my best and
Right.
try that out. But yeah,
Interesting. That's very good to know. And I would think you talked about the mental aspect and the
yeah,
mindset and everything. And shooting it's very much about the mind, not only calming yourself, but also being able to focus and get rid of all those distractions. How do you describe what's happening in your head during a match? Or is that even, can you even describe that?
yeah. I feel like there's always a million thoughts racing through my head. People shooting and it looks like nothing's going on. They're
Yeah,
just sitting there shooting and
right.
it'd be like a crowd of people and there's nothing going on. But like in my head, there's probably like a million thoughts of, okay, like how's my position? This feels good. Am I on target? Great. And then obviously you get probably your intrusive thoughts, or I get distracted and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling hungry, or this is hot, or this is uncomfortable. And oh, I have this paper that I have to do that's due this week and I really don't want to do it. And you have all of those thoughts too, which are just like regular things that happen. And you have to learn how to manage those and compartmentalize them and put them where they belong. And then when you're in the shot, hopefully that's the only thing you're thinking about is just how can I execute this to the greatest extent that I can, or what technical thing can I do better than the last shot on right now. But there's probably like a million thoughts that I'm thinking about, especially in between shots. I let my mind drift a little bit, but then
Mm.
when my head's like back down there and I'm like about to shoot, that's when it's more like focused and regulated.
So was there ever, so let's talk about nationals again really quickly. Was there a moment there where you thought, wow, I think I can win this?
All right, before we get into the next topic, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about something that can really help you level up your personal brand. I've created an exclusive new book called The Visionary Personal Brand Playbook. It's perfect for those of you who have big goals but aren't exactly sure how to make your brand stand out, or for that matter, where to even start. It's packed with actionable tips that you can start using right now, today. If you're interested, head over to my website at sandy-adams.com/playbook and grab your copy. Now back to the show.
I didn't go in thinking that I thought I could win, but I didn't think that I would. It wasn't like,
Right.
oh, I'm going to win this match, because there were a lot of really great competitors and a lot of great athletes there. But I was just training, and this was a match that I went to on my own. And I was like, I really worked hard for it in practice. And I was like, I want to be on the podium. I want to be successful, but it means I'm going to have to work really hard. During those matches, a lot of it was just like, okay, I want to do exactly what I trained for. And I practiced really hard for this moment. So I want to make the most of it right now. And I want to work as hard as I possibly can, regardless of the wind or anything. And I just wanted to feel like I left everything out on the line, and there was no way I could have made a better decision or worked harder or did anything that way. Even in the finals that I shot, they were really close. So both of those finals, I won by 0.1 of a point. So 1/10. So even up until the last shot, no one really knew who was going to win. But it was like the last shot of both of those finals that determined the winner. And I had them both by 0.1.
You talk about, do you recite those things to yourself when you're in competition?
Yes. So like I do a lot of journaling when I shoot, like journaling how things feel or how I'm thinking or how I like to think about certain things, so that when I'm in a match, I feel like I can rely and lean on those tools and be like, okay, in practice, I trained this and this is how I want to do it. And this is what I want to think about. I trained this technical aspect and now I want to apply it here. But there is a lot of kind of like self-talk going on in my mind when I'm shooting. I think some people are able to more like flow and shoot naturally and on autopilot a little. Some people are able to do that really well. But for me, I'm very present, and there's a lot of like self-talk and like choices and decisions that I feel like I'm making.
Does the journaling, does it play a role in help? Because you talked a little bit about how the journaling can help you, but I'm curious as to, does the journaling help you in the overall process
Yeah,
of it?
it helps me keep track of things a lot of the time. So like I have all my old journals sitting in my locker at the range, and like maybe if I'm having a problem and I remember, hey, I've felt this way before, I can flip back and see what I was thinking at the time, or maybe how I fixed things, or if I had a different way to think about things, or I'll flip back to some of my matches where I know I felt like I did really well, and I'll be like, what was I thinking at this time? Or
Right.
what did that feel like for me? And I can channel a little bit of that. And that's really helpful, is having that just like log or experience that I can flip back on. Because I feel like sometimes when I think about it, it might be a little distorted. It might not be exactly what I think it is. And then I read about it and I'm like, oh, like this was a great match, but I didn't feel like it was that great. Like I shot a great number, but I felt like I had a lot
Yeah.
to improve. So it's interesting to look back on those things in that way too.
A couple of things come to mind talking about that. And back a few years ago, Caleb Drexler, he's the swimmer from, I want to say, University of Miami, was in the Olympics, 2 Olympics. He talked about how he keeps 2 journals, a personal journal and then a training journal. And it helps him get things out of his head, obviously with a personal journal, and that's just for him. The other thing that comes to mind is Suni Lee in this past Olympics. People could see her like talking to herself as she was getting up on the podium to compete. And a lot of conversation was around that. And I think that I would think a lot of people, I do it as well. I think a lot of people self-talk. They may not just make it visible to everybody. But when you talk about the journaling, because I teach that a lot about journaling, just to help you see what you want to do, but also to clarify what's been done. Because I think so many people in an everyday basis, they forget everything they've done. And when they get down on themselves, they forget like all the great things they've done, all the things they've gone through, all the things that they've accomplished. And I think journaling is another way to bring that back and reinforce who you are and what you've already accomplished to know that you can go forward and accomplish more. So I love that you're using that.
Yeah, absolutely. And even more on this self-talk thing, like I agree. I think it's something like even I do in my everyday life that I'm not aware of that I'm doing. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts that go through your head, but sometimes you're not always aware of how they impact you. But when I'm shooting, like it has taken a lot of work for me to be able to find a particular way of talking to myself and being
Mm,
able to reframe those negative thoughts. Sometimes maybe you have
yes.
a bad shot or something might happen, and it's easy to be like, man, that sucked. That sucked. I could have done better. Why didn't I do that? And get into that. And, or thinking like, oh, I'm a bad shooter. I'm not meant to be here. I'm not good at this. And sometimes I feel like thinking those thoughts are like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's
They
important,
are.
like when you think about them in the moment, to redirect yourself into what you want to think about. Or it's like for me, like I tell myself like it's okay to react or have those reactions or maybe have the initial
Mm,
thought, but then it's a choice for me of okay, do I bring myself back to center or not? Or do I let
right.
myself spiral? And those are the choices that I can make on the line that impact the way that I think.
I love everything you just said because I hear so many people talk about all the negative things they say to themselves. And I always say it takes as much energy to believe you can as to believe you can't. So
Yeah.
why not believe you can? But negative thoughts can control people. And
Yeah.
our mindset, I do agree, it dictates our actions going forward. So if you're thinking negatively, you're less likely to put in the effort and the action to do good things versus not putting that action in. So I absolutely agree with you. And I love that you've brought this all out. I'm sure everybody's like, why isn't she talking about shooting right now? But
It
it
is,
is,
yeah, that is what shooting is. I
it
feel like
is.
it's
Um,
mostly mental.
exactly. And for any of the sports, mental performance plays such a huge role for every athlete, no matter what the sport is.
Yeah.
It really does. Okay, so let's talk about, do you think that same discipline shows up in other parts of your life, like your schoolwork, your leadership, relationships? And how do you think that manifests it in a positive way?
Yeah, this is a tough question because it reminds me of that quote that's how you do one thing is how you do
Yes,
everything.
yes,
And
yes.
I have a love-hate relationship with that quote because I agree. If I wake up in the morning and I get the more I let things slip in my personal life, the more I let things slip in rifle. And there is a correlation there, but then at the same time, I'm like, sometimes I just shoot and then I want to come home and watch TV and like put off things to the side and whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't make me a bad shooter or anything. And I can like frustrated by like when people say that. I'm like, I can still like, or I can maybe put off my doing my laundry and like stuff like
Yeah,
that, but still be successful in the range. But ultimately, like I do agree. And I think that when I train in the range, it does impact my life. And similarly, like the more I choose to do the hard thing in my life, like whether it be in school or like in even like my relationships and like having tough conversations with people or working out and like even trying to push myself there, the more I can do that, like the more resilient I become overall. And then the better it impacts me in the range. So it's almost like a full circle. Like
sure.
the harder I work here, the more inclined I am to do this, to this, and it like circles that way. And then at the same time, like sometimes I'll recognize like maybe in my life, like I'm not doing everything that I should, or I'm not maybe going, even like going to the gym on my own when I normally do, or like doing those things. And then I notice like even in the range, like I'm more likely to be like, no, I'll just call it quits for the day, or I'll be done, or do things like that. So I do notice that things are related as much as sometimes I don't want them to be.
Sure. But I do think that it's hard to do one thing very disciplined
Yeah.
and not do other things very disciplined.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Um,
true. But then sometimes it's hard to spend all my energy doing
sure,
this very disciplined and then still have the energy to do everything else in the same way. So
absolutely.
there's like a balance there.
There is. It's a hard line to navigate sometimes because it does take a lot of energy to give so much to that sport
Yeah.
that sometimes you just want to do nothing for the day or
Yeah.
just you're only human. So let's talk about that other factor of your life, and that's your academics. So you are majoring in business management. And how did you come about that degree?
I came about that degree. I actually have a concentration in HR. So I really like working with people and I like understanding how people work. But I didn't want to major in something like philosophy or psychology because I didn't feel like they were as practical of degrees as business. I wanted something
Right.
practical and that I could really put to use.
And make money?
Yeah, I wanted to hopefully make a little bit of money. So I decided to go the business management route, which I think a lot of my classes, it's the same principles but applied. So it's like psychology but applied,
Sure.
or working with people but applied, which I really enjoy and like understanding that, especially like the human resources aspect of it, I think is pretty interesting. I've taken a couple classes on like team building and team relationships, and those I felt like have impacted the way I've thought about rifle and my own team even then too.
I also think that those can play a role in your everyday life and in
Yeah.
all facets of your life. How do you balance the athletic competitions and the training with the schoolwork? Because I've talked with a lot of athletes on here, and that's always, I want to say, the conflict that they have is how to balance the sport and the studies. So how do you do it on a regular basis?
Yeah. It is hard sometimes, but the way I do it is I have to commit to being 100% present in whatever I'm doing at the time. So if I'm at the range, I have to be 100%
Right.
at the range and there's no school. It exists, like it's still, I have assignments due that night or something. It exists, but like the best way that I can be successful at both is if when I'm at the
Sure.
range, I give 100% of my effort there. And then similarly, like when I'm doing school or studying, like I have to give all my effort there and just be present while I'm doing each of those things and separate them a little bit. Because if I'm not, I'll find myself doing homework and like thinking about what I want to do at practice the next day, or shooting and being thinking about my homework or other things. And it's a tough balance. Obviously, there are probably some nights where I'm like up studying late and I really wish I was in bed or
Yeah.
doing something else. But it's just something I value and I choose to put effort towards, and it has to get done.
It
It
does. It has to
it
get
has
done.
to get done, so I have to do it.
I will say, and I'm sure other people have said this before, but these college years are some of the best years of your life in the fact that you're young, you've got so many opportunities ahead of you, and it's just college is just a special time. At least that's how I felt. That's how other people I know have felt. It's just a great opportunity because everything's out there. Everything is available to you whenever you want to go after it. How do you balance? How have you balanced being so far away from home on a regular basis? Because it's not like you can just jump in the car and go see your parents.
Yeah, I call them a lot, so we do a lot of FaceTime calls with my family,
Yeah.
and I get to go home. I go home for Christmas every year.
Right.
Not always for Thanksgiving because normally we have class that week, so
Yeah.
it's too quick of a turnaround for me. But I think like I have a really good relationship with my parents, and I'm really lucky. I've got a really great set of parents, and they're like endlessly supportive of everything that I do. So at the end of the day, whether I'm able to be with them or not, or talk to them every day or not, I know they have my back and they try and
Sure.
help me out in any way they can. And I don't know. I think I'm really grateful for my parents and my family back home. And obviously they've worked really hard to like help me get where I am too. And I think just we're all busy with my parents' work, and my sister, she's graduating high school this year. So they've got like their hands full with her and where she's going to go to college and everything. But at the end of the day, we just know we just have each other's backs. And
So do you just have the one sister, or do you have other brothers and sisters?
I just have my one younger sister. She's 4 years younger than me. So we'll be graduating actually in the same few days, like in the same week
Oh
this
my God.
year.
I feel for your parents. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my
they're
God.
pretty stressed. They're trying to figure out like how to like go to one, or maybe one parent goes to one graduation and another one to the other. But
No.
we'll see how it works.
So is she playing any type of sports at all?
Yeah, she runs track and field actually. She's a sprinter and a hurdler, and she does long jump. And I think she's taken a recruiting visit or two, and she's hoping to sign on to a college team for track, which we're opposites in that way. Like my sport is like shooting and being as still as possible and like being very focused.
Yes.
And she cannot stand still or sit still to save her life. And her sport is like,
Yeah.
so we're opposites in that way.
Any chance she'll be taking a recruiting visit to Memphis?
No, I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
know if that's or not, at least in the near future. That would be awesome if she went to Memphis, but I don't know if that will work out or not.
Okay, tell us about the NCAA Elite 90 Award because you're the first Tiger to receive that.
Sure. So that award goes to, so at each of it's called the Elite 90 because I think there's 90 NCAA championships. And at each championship, they award one athlete, the Elite 90, who has the highest GPA.
Okay.
Or, yeah, one non-freshman athlete. So the idea of it is the Elite 90 is like the pinnacle of being like a student and an athlete because you're competing at the highest level. You're at the national championship and you're a really good student as well. So I got it my sophomore year at the 2024 national championship, which I wasn't expecting. Like I didn't know before I received it.
Oh,
You're
wow.
going to call up my name, but that award is really special to me.
Because if I'm understanding, not only do you have to have the highest GPA, but you have to compete at the national level.
Yes. So that year I qualified to go to the championships as an individual,
Okay.
and it was just me on my team. So it was me and my coach, Morgan Wilson, and then also Marlon DeChaussee was there. I'm not sure if you knew of him, but that was really special too, that he was able to like sit in at that dinner. And I don't know, we got to celebrate that award together.
So you've mentioned wanting to coach one day. What's drawn you to that path?
I want to coach because I find it really rewarding. I've coached at the high school level before, so like a couple summers, I've worked as a summer camp counselor, like for a couple rifle camps, like helping to coach rifle athletes, and I've ran a camp or two myself, and I really find a lot of joy in it, like being able to help someone else maybe reach their potential or more their potential or get better. I just I find that rewarding and being able to support other people in the same way that I've been supported and almost I feel like gotten lucky. Like I've gotten lucky to have such a great coach and so much support at Memphis. I want someone else to feel that way too.
I love that because I think it's one of the benefits that a coach can give. You
Yeah.
know, I truly like that. Putting you on the spot here. So you're graduating in May?
Yes.
Okay. Do you plan to stay in Memphis or are you going to go back to Alaska or are you just waiting to see what your next opportunity is?
Yeah. We'll see what happens in May. I feel like I've just gotten started when it comes to shooting. Maybe probably because I've gotten a late start compared to some of my teammates. I only started in high school and
Right.
a lot of people have started like way before that. So I feel like I'm just getting started and I feel like I haven't reached my full potential yet. And I have a lot of growth that I still want to do in the
Mm.
sport before I'm ready to quit. So I'd really like to keep shooting and I'd love to get into coaching. So we'll see what opportunities are available and what happens. I probably won't end up staying in Memphis just because I don't think I'll be able to shoot if I stay here
Right.
since I'll graduate. But yeah, I'll juggle things around and see what happens. But I'm excited. I think it's like obviously a new chapter of my life. And I know you said like
Yes.
college is the best couple years of your life, but I still think I have a lot of good years to come. And
But it's the opportunities. And that's really what I meant is like there's so many, you can go in so many different directions. It's just
Yeah,
like
that's true.
the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
Um,
The
so,
world is my oyster, but we'll see. Yeah,
well,
I'm excited to almost enter a new phase and feel more
sure.
like an adult.
So we have several associate athletic directors, assistant athletic directors that listen to the podcast from all over the country, different conferences. So if any of you are out there listening to this, I hope that you, if you have a rifle team, that you give Gabby a call and see what can happen to that. So what are some upcoming competitions that you're excited about for this season or goals, competitions and or goals?
We have a match this weekend, so we're traveling this weekend. We'll be shooting against the University of Kentucky on Saturday and Morehead State University on Sunday.
Yes.
So that's exciting. But what I'm really excited about the most is postseason. And I would really like for the University of Memphis to qualify for the Rifle National Championship as a team. That would be a big dream of
Best
mine.
Christmas present?
That would
Yes.
be like the biggest dream of mine fulfilled. It's the top 8 teams in the nation get to go. And we haven't been able to go in the time that I've been here as a team yet. And I think we can definitely do it. It's definitely in our wheelhouse this year. And that would be something that I would be very excited for. But that'll be in March.
Okay. So do you have competitions all through the winter and up through the spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
We compete this weekend, then
Hmm.
next weekend at home. So
Okay.
next Saturday at home against Army. And then we'll take a little, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was because can the public come and watch
Yes,
this competition?
absolutely. You don't need a ticket or anything. They're just free to the public if you stop by the rifle range. Normally we start probably around 8 or 9, and then
In the morning?
yes, in the morning, and then we'll run. But we run almost all day, so we're normally there until 3 or 4. Anytime's a good time to stop in. But yeah, our next home match is not this weekend, but the next against Army that Saturday, which I'm excited for. And then in the spring, that's our last one for the fall. And then in the
Okay.
spring, when we come back after winter break, we have some matches there too.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make sure I put a link in the show notes to that so that hopefully the city and across the country can learn more about that. What do you want other young women, especially those here in Memphis, to take away from your story?
Yeah, I think my story, I think that a lot of the times for me, or I think the lesson that I learned or the lesson to learn is to be willing to take risks, like even if they are scary. Like I took a big risk coming here. And like I said earlier, like I made myself really uncomfortable by doing it. And since then, I've been trying to make myself still uncomfortable, like both in training and practice since. But like I took a risk. And then at the end of the day, I feel like for me, as far as rifle goes, as long as I work hard enough, like I can really accomplish whatever I want to. And that's a lesson sometimes I have to learn in practice over and
Yeah,
over again is obviously you don't get the results you want just by wanting them, but they're working hard, like for like truly, I think committing to something and being
absolutely.
100% all in with my team, all in with what my coach is saying, and letting myself be vulnerable in that way and work hard in that way, whether that means like failing or succeeding. Like I have made like a lot of like true progress. And I feel like I'm a different person than I was 4 years ago. Like I feel like I'm a lot smarter and a lot more well-rounded and probably a lot more confident than I was as a freshman.
Has your mom had a chance to come visit Memphis?
She has. She's been to a match. Or my sophomore year, I moved out of the dorms and into an apartment, and she helped me there. And she's been to Memphis, and she likes it. She likes it. It's definitely different, but she likes it.
We do get snow and ice, but yes, it is quite different
Yeah, it
from
is
that.
quite different. I think the highway driving's kind of scary, at least here. It is for like when I don't know, whenever I get a chance to drive or something, our kind of highways don't have as many lanes and there aren't as many numbers or exits or any of that. And that is definitely stressful. But
I
yeah,
came from a town that has 3 red lights and that's
Oh,
it.
wow. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I got used to living in Memphis and then I moved to Houston, Texas.
Wow.
And I thought Memphis was large. I moved to Houston, that's the
Yeah.
third largest city in the United States. And they have multiple, like 8, 9, 10 lane interstates. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's just crazy. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Our at home, our exits don't even have numbers. They just have names. Like I wasn't used to all the numbers. Yeah, it was like, okay.
I can relate to that because in my
Yeah.
small hometown, our roads, like our little highways, had numbers, but
Yeah.
it was always like, that's the highway that goes to whatever town.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what you called it. And so my mom would be like, "Oh, you need to take Highway 22." I don't even know what highway that is.
Yeah, we
I
just
gotta.
have really like the highway. Like if you're saying I'm going this so I get on the highway. So it's a lot simpler and it's, oh, I got off here like on Diamond or whatever. No like exit number situation. So that is a little different.
Okay, so I love to end every episode with this question.
Okay.
So if you could go back and talk to your 9-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
Okay. I would probably tell her that everything happens for a reason, which is something that I very strongly believe is that everything that happens has a purpose. And I would tell her to take everything in stride. So there will be challenges, there will be ups and downs, but I think everything has a purpose and it's all meant to happen and will help you be the person that I think you're meant to be, which I don't know if I'm necessarily the person I'm meant to be quite yet, but that's something that I've realized is that I think things have a purpose and
They do.
everything I do has a reason behind it.
I also think that we're all a work in progress.
Yeah,
Going
I
no
agree.
matter how old we are. Quickly, I'm going to do a flash fire Q&A. So the first question, favorite after competition meal?
Probably Chipotle. I
Ah.
love Chipotle.
Okay, favorite Memphis food spot?
I like Good Fortune Company. That's a restaurant downtown
Okay.
that I went to
Okay.
recently, but that one's
Okay.
really good.
Okay. What's the most unusual or surprising food you've ever tried anywhere?
Yeah, being from Alaska, I have had reindeer sausage or like moose sausage before, or had moose meat, which I don't think many people have had. That's a weird one.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you could instantly speak another language, what would it be? Which one would it be?
Technically, I already speak Polish, but it's a little broken and
Okay.
I can't read or write that well. So I would definitely pick Polish
Okay.
because I'd love to be able to probably conversate with or connect with
Converse.
my family.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Converse with my
Yeah.
family, just connect more with them rather than like mishmashing words together
Do
like I
some hand
normally
actions
do.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
What's one item you can't live without?
Probably my journal, like we talked about earlier, like especially for shooting. That is something I always have when I'm on the line, or I always do when,
Do you encourage or do any of your other teammates, do they journal as well?
yeah, a lot of them do. Some of them don't, but a lot of them do, or a lot of rifle athletes do, I think. I think that you'll see that's a big thing. I know you talked earlier about some people have, yeah, a technical journal and a personal
Mhm.
journal. Mine's all kind of ends up being one journal and it's a little technical. And then I write, oh, I'm feeling really angry about this in it too. And it's an everything journal, but it's just one.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, Gabby, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm just so excited to have this conversation with you and just find out everything about you. And I'm sure there's so much more we could learn and just shine a light on rifle as a sport and on women's athletics here in Memphis and across the country. But thank you so much for being here. Your story, it's such a powerful reminder that something I believe that hard work, heart, mindset, and belief can, as you said, can take you anywhere. And if we only all just believed a little bit more in ourselves, that would be great. For anyone that wants to keep up with Gabby, where can they find you and follow you online?
Sure, they can follow, or they can probably find me through Memphis Athletics or Memphis Rifle, or they
Okay.
can find me through my Instagram, which is zych.gabriela.
And I will put all that in the show notes as well. You're also on.
influencer now. That's what
Okay.
University of Memphis uses. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm there for NIL opportunities.
Okay, I'll put that in there as well. And as I said, to any athletic departments or college programs listening, if you're looking for a driven, focused championship level rifle coach, you just heard why she would be the next great hire. If you love today's conversation, make sure to follow, rate, and share this episode with someone who needs a little motivation in their own next chapter. I'm Sandy Adams. Thank you for watching and listening to On the Sideline with a Fifth Quarter podcast. Until next time, keep showing up, keep pushing forward, and keep finding purpose beyond the game. Thank you.